Are modern retro games in a good place as of 2022? If you ask me, and if you've tuned into this video, you are asking me the answer. My answer is yes. And how? Do you want remakes of games you loved from back in the day? Try out Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection if you're a sadist and want something difficult in your life. Or try two of my personal favorites, Oddworld New and Tasty and Oddworld Soulstorm, remakes of Abe's Odyssey and Exodus. Then you have Blaster Master Zero, a remake of the original NES title, which is smaller in the graphical improvements, but polishes the gameplay of an already excellent game. Perhaps you prefer your remakes a little more divisive. Try Secret of Mana Remake. That divided people, and how. I like my remakes like I like my Big Mac, in a combo. We have had several wonderful 32-bit remakes in the Crash Bandicoot trilogy and the Spyro Dragon trilogy, or go back to the PS3 generation with the Sly Cooper collection, or remakes of the PS2 games. Perhaps you want a remake that isn't technically a remake. Try Sonic Mania, which is a love letter to Sega's Blue Blur and a remake of the Sonic games at heart. What about those modern retro games which reinvigorate the dead or nearly dead genres of yesteryear? Once again, boy are we in luck. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I'm a fan of shmups, a genre that ruled arcades and consoles for the first 2+ decades of video games, but were nearly driven into extinction with the introduction of 3D gaming. In the last few years, we have seen a resurgence of shmups, particularly from the indie developers. Games such as Danmaku, Unlimited 3, San Mora, R-Type Final 2, Cotton Reboot, or if you really want to try something different, Freedom Finger. You pilot a giant middle finger in that game. Maybe you want your shmups more mainstream. Later this month, we have Soul Cresta releasing from Platinum Games. Yes, from one of the biggest development studios out there. And then you have the oft-neglected 2D platformer and run and gun. Some of the best games of the last 5 years have come out of these modern retro games. Games such as Cuphead, old school difficulty there, Shovel Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Ori Will of the Wisps, Celeste, and Rayman Legends are some of the highest critically rated games of the last 10 years. Then you have the less lauded games such as Broforce, a game I plan on giving its own video in the near future, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, Katana Zero, and Blazing Chrome. Heck, if none of those games appeal to you, get Mario Maker 2 and create your own 2D Mario platformer. In summation, our cup runneth over. Then we have a genre which does not get much modern attention. Metroidvanias. Insert sarcasm here. Exhibit A, Metroid Dread. Nintendo actually made a Metroid on a 2D plane. Pinch me, for I must be dreaming. But that is only the tip of the backtracking iceberg. And backtrack you do in a Metroidvania. Want a mashup of genres which has no business working? Try Yoku's Island Express, a 2D Metroidvania crossed with pinball. I'm unsure of the voodoo they used, but that game is awesome. I just did a playthrough of Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit and Wonder Labyrinth's beginning areas. I beat it last night, and while short, it did not disappoint in the slightest. Hollow Knight is a critical darling, which was not my cup of tea, but I seem to be the exception and not the rule. The before-mentioned Ori's games are technically Metroidvanias, though I place them more in the platformer genre with Metroidvania tendencies. We have Axiom Verge, which was created by one guy. You don't get more indie than that. A Metroidvania, which is on my radar, but I have not played yet, is Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch. A terrible name and acronym for a game that looks amazing. I'll keep you, my viewers, updated if and when I pick this one up. The genre which I find myself adoring these days is a genre which did not technically exist in a retro sense, and that is the roguelike. The majority of roguelikes are going to take the form of a 2D platformer or top-down shooter / hack and slash, think Smash TV. They are defined by death being expected and anticipated, and with each death your character increasing in some way which makes the next playthrough easier or at least allowing you to progress further. My top examples of each of these types are Dead Cells and Hades. Dead Cells, a tough-as-they-come 2D platformer, has very little in the way of story, where Hades, a top-down hack and slash, is all about its storytelling. Both are amazing and should be played without anything being spoiled by someone like me. Others of the roguelike genre, which are must-tries, are Children of Morta, Rogue Legacy, both of which deal with families of fighters in a very different way. In Rogue Legacy, your descendants can be colorblind or dyslexic, or many other traits, which affects gameplay in appreciable ways. Others are Enter the Gungeon and The Binding of Isaac, just to name a few. Last, we have the category of modern retro games, which I would categorize as other, for lack of a better categorization. They just seem retro in their bones. My favorite two examples of this come from a single developer, Swedish company Image and Form. They are the developers of the SteamWorld series of games. The two I want to mention are SteamWorld Heist, Hand of Gilgamesh, an RPG/deck building hybrid, and SteamWorld Heist, a side-scrolling turn-based strategy game for which the soundtrack was composed, and they were included as robot forms of themselves in-game by steam-powered Giraffe. Golf Story, an arcadey golf game similar to the Mario golf games on GBA with RPG elements, is also another great example of a game that is a must-play but also falls into this other category. In conclusion, to restate my original thesis, are modern retro games, as of 2022, in a good place? The answer is a resounding, you bet your sweet bippity they are. This video only scratches the surface of what is out there. The proverbial cherry on top of the sundae is that most, if not all, of the games I've listed here can be purchased for under $10, sometimes way under $10, when on sale, and none of them cost what a modern AAA title would cost. As always, I am Cam, and it is my passion to share with you my love of modern retro games. Until next time, be safe and keep gaming.